Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Chase. And I'm excited because we're already on episode 58. Time is literally flying, and you guys are in for a treat today. We have Jeremy Wenger on, and this guy is incredible. If you have not had a chance to meet him, he's going to bless you in more ways than one. You're going to learn a lot today, so go ahead and get your pen and paper out. You're going to hear from his story, hear how you can connect with him, and then go follow his content afterwards. I'm going to have all the links down below after the interview, so please feel free to go and reach out to him. But Jeremy, is there anything you'd like to add to that, sir?
You covered it pretty much well, man. I appreciate the compliments. I appreciate you having me on here.
For those of you that are wondering, what's his title? What is it that he does? He's the CEO of Legacy Driven Life. He's the founder of it as well. So let's go on ahead and let's just take a step back, Jeremy, and let's start from the beginning. Can you kind of tell us your story? What eventually led you to obviously start the business, and then how did you get to where you are today?
Man, it all goes back to my parents' divorce when I was 10. Oldest of three kids, and it was a very ugly divorce. And what happened was after years of childhood abuse, physical, verbal, mental, and emotional abuse, it'll be 10 years this May that I contemplated suicide because of so many things that were contemplating, that were compiling together. And that's what catapulted me into restoring the relationship with my dad. Over those 2 years, I started understanding how much I was forgiven, and all of this while simultaneously working with my dad in his tree company, and I grew up in blue collar, and so ironically enough, I started actually doing HR at 12 years old because my dad, I didn't even know really what HR was. I just realized that there was a lot of tension that was happening out on the job site, and I just did not like it because that's what we had in the household. And so being the oldest of three, my dad wanted an ally, and the employees did not want me to cry wolf, and so I leveraged the two and just said, "Okay, guys, shut up and listen because you're 45-year-old kids right now, and you guys are saying the same thing," and things started to work out pretty well. And so it was a very entertaining experience, but in hindsight. But over 6 years of working with him, at the 4-year mark, that's when I contemplated suicide, and at the final 2 years of restoring that relationship with my dad. I ended up on a Thursday night, got to see him again. It was abnormal, but it was something that in my heart I had to go see him. I knew it deep down. But that's when sorry, the dog's barking, throwing me off. But no, you're good. I know you're good. I've got dogs in the backyard. You're fine, dude. Our dogs are yapping right now like crazy in the backyard. I'm just glad you can't hear them. But it's because what's incredible is that on that Thursday night I went to go see him. I was actually on the way to church, and I normally would not. I would just brush it off and go see him the next day, no big deal. But spent 30 minutes of just electrifying time with him, and I left his house that night. I saw a glimpse of something in his eyes that I wish he would have done. I could just tell that he wished he would have done more. And I left his house.
Keep talking, Jeremy. I can hear you. I'm going to go shut the door so that you're not getting feedback from the dog. I apologize.
Are you fine? Oh, you're fine. It happens. And so guys, those of you who are watching, it's like what happened was I was there on a Thursday night, and I left his house that night. I caught the glimpse of his eyes, but then when I left, I was actually heading to my car, and it's like I could visually see a gift that was completely wrapped in a bow. I could see it being tightened, and everything that I had done in those 2 years, I knew instinctively that I had put into repairing the relationship with my dad was complete. Following Monday, we're actually in Illinois on the way to Iowa for family vacation. Got the call that my dad had been murdered, and I was 18 years old at the time.
Oh my gosh. And
so, but I didn't have any regret because leading up to that, I put in literally day in and day out of repairing that relationship. I mean, literal blood, sweat, and tears to repair that sucker. And I mean, I got it done, and I had peace. But of course, going through all that, the vacation turned into a funeral. And so going through that, I was able to overcome that. And fast forwarding over the following 6 years, at 18, first equity partnership, did $250,000 in 9 months. Ahead of their rebranding and marketing, it was fantastic. But then went to be a missionary overseas for a year and moved up to Nashville and been up here ever since. And then in 2016, got a phone call that the investigators finally found the guy who killed my dad. And I have not been able to tell him. That I have forgiven him yet, but on that journey to be able to tell him that, I want to inspire so many people that it just makes their head spin. I want to be able to unify people in companies and in their workplace. But my ultimate goal is to heal the broken homes, because that's where it all ends up at. But a lot of people will pay attention if something's tied to their wallet. And so, Forbes and also John Maxwell, Forbes David K. Williams actually wrote an article for Forbes and said that forgiveness is the least understood leadership quality. And that was in 2015. And then last year when I saw John Maxwell speak at Church of the Highlands Grow Conference, he also said in all of his experience, 2 years later, said that in all of his experience in training corporations, they have no clue how to forgive. I was just like, right at that time, it was like, from 2016 to that point, was just starting to help people and pour into them from the decade of experience that I've got in forgiveness and repairing relationships. That I've burned my number of bridges, we all have, and by being able to repair the relationships and always being in that position of repairing and restoring. And now it's a matter of there are literally 124 people a day committing suicide. And that is something that being able to, when it comes to the workplace, I mean, just in most recent from the labor statistics, they said that it was like 14,000 workplace-related suicides just in 2013. And like to think about that is like how could I make a difference by just focusing on one specific thing to help people understand to forgive themselves and forgive others, especially in the awkward situations when they're working with people, because they feel alienated, they feel like a number sometimes. And so it's very important for me now to be able to pour that out and to give what I've been given, and not to hold it for myself anymore. And so that's just now pouring out and to be able to equip people with the emotional, mental fortitude, especially the spiritual fortitude, to handle what feels unbearable, and both in the workplace and the personal life.
That is wild. So then, how does your company partner with people now?
Well, with speakers, coaches, I'm hearing feedback, but I don't know, maybe the computer got unmuted, but so what I'm doing is I'm partnering with speakers and coaches, but also because we're developing an online course right now, of course, going to have the affiliate sales and stuff, which is, I mean, there are a lot of things that speakers and coaches touch on forgiveness, but they don't have an exhaustive thing that really does a deep dive. And so it's really great to partner with them as far as, as just being able to do affiliate sales, but also build it into their value ladder and packages, but also helping companies, schools, and organizations. I mean, a door just got opened to go speak to the prisons here in Tennessee, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
And so that's really cool that happened. And to be able to help companies that have 10 or more employees that meet their government quota for HR training. So it's really cool to be able to go in there, talk about suicide prevention, go in there, talk about conflict resolution, forgiveness, just as this is the core principle, and have those interactive workshops. Not have some lecture, but actual interact and engage with people in real time, and be able to check the temperature of the room and be able to solve issues right there and then and there, instead of being some cookie cutter speech, And so, yeah, it's really cool.
You're from Tennessee, correct?
No, actually originally from Alabama, and
Okay.
I moved up here about 7 years ago.
Perfect. So then, are you traveling all over the United States to kind of help with people, or are you strictly in Tennessee?
No, gosh, no. We just kicked off the workshops, and so we're getting scheduled out. I got one going down to in Alabama here in the next couple of months, and so that's gonna be really, really fun. And so opening up stuff for Tennessee, and I mean, we're about to blast this out via marketing, especially with our promotional partners and everyone that's just getting on board, because this is way bigger than me. I'm just a mouthpiece. My heart is to heal, is to see people see their broken hearts healed. Like, that's what I want. That healing that I had, I want to be able to bring that to people in a way that grabs their attention, yanks their attention out of their circumstance, and drop kicks fear in the face. And so that way they can truly have to stand strong, because a lot of times they feel like they're a victim.
So what are some of the biggest problems that you've noticed over the years that are within companies that are causing these suicides?
Yeah, communication. I actually just wrote an article, getting it, waiting back for the publication, but also the title was, "Do you know which employee is contemplating suicide?" And it's all about the small stuff. A lot of times we let we know what Dale Carnegie talks about, the four quadrants, and a lot of times we get sucked into the tornado of things. We don't let the busy work really just consume us, and sometimes we get so robotic that we don't even remember even people's names. When it comes down to the employers, they have to remember that they're a steward over these people. They are stewarding over the families. They're not just a number to meet a quota. Yes, that's important, but also if they can't meet that, then what's going on? Like, how can we fix that? What didn't happen? What did happen? How can we make up the difference? The whole thing. But also understanding that there's a reason behind that. There's a deeper root, and really digging down deep and taking the time to be empathetic with their employees, because those employees are looking to the employer for protection, for security. And if they don't steward over that properly, they're going to have employee turnover rate. Like Google's turnover rate is every 9 months, right?
Wow.
Which is crazy to think about. But it's just like, I mean, even think about Nissan and these other big companies, a lot of like, because their standard operating procedures are so tight knit and great, sometimes they get so accustomed to that, and that leaks over to the relationships and the connection when it comes to companies. And it is so crazy because it is the small stuff. Just really being able to connect with people on a daily basis, and just to remember their birthdays, remember their anniversaries, remember the stuff that just that, hey, if they have the open door policy, of course, but to where people can connect with the person that they're looking for and looking towards too for protection. When it comes to income, when it comes to providing for their family, being the breadwinner, like these small things, like if they're having an issue, and to check on that person to say, hey, is everything okay? Yada yada. And so it's those kind of things that matter. But everyone has their, the book called The Five Love Languages. Everyone has their different love language, and it's these kind of things in the workplace, amidst all the pressure, amidst all the things, getting things moving forward, and being able to really truly push the bottom line and make sure things are making progress, but also have a healthy culture too. Because if it's all about the bottom line, everyone's is just a statistic, just like the employer too, because they have investors sometimes to answer to too.
So you mentioned courses and other ways to be add to people's value funnels or value ladders, excuse me. How can people reach out to you now and get access to that stuff?
Well, right now it's in the development phase. They can just message me on here or on LinkedIn. I hit the friend limit every day, if not every other day, here on Facebook. So LinkedIn is my number one. I love it. And so people can either just go to LinkedIn, just type in my first and last name, or just Google my first and last name, and it'll pop up. And that way they can just go connect. And I like to connect with people, all the promotional partners. I'm very selective. Because I'm not just going to have anybody out there willy-nilly just like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Like, I'm very diligent about co-branding and the alignment with it, because the people that I interview, I always ask them about their story ahead of time. I physically get on a phone call with them, and I know, right? Shocker. And, and so, but to be able to get on a phone call with them, build that rapport, because it's not. I don't want to just have, like, I want to make an impact and an income. But also be able to have that relationship with a new friend. It's not, this is not, like I said, this is not about me. Like, it started here, but it's not going to end here. Like, literally, the name is self-explanatory: legacy-driven life. Like, and the course is actually, I'll let people know, but it's going to be called the Survivor Code. And so that way people can, because people who are struggling with that kind of stuff, surviving is just a really good idea right now. And so to be able to help them go to the next phase of it. But yes, and that's where, depending on that person's marketing strategy, their back end, what they have integrated into everything. Just there's a lot of logistics that go into it, but just really connecting and just seeing where they're at and see how it can benefit them, because some people don't want to disrupt their brand and they want to push it behind the scenes. And so we're going to have the organic push, and then with the paid ads, we duplicate it out for the affiliates and the promo partners and stuff too. So it's really exciting.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I have a lot of friends that host events and put events on. We're putting an event on this summer, but I'll reach out to some of them and see if I can connect you to get you on some more stages, because this is important and we need to have more of this out there. Because I agree with exactly what you just said. A lot of people are afraid to put it forefront. So you're doing stuff behind the scenes, but I'll see if I can connect you with some of the right people, because that would be awesome to get this in front of more faces.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
But for everybody that's watching right now, the replay, or you're watching live, I'm just going to link all of his social media platforms down below. Jeremy is who he says he is. This isn't fake. He's not putting on some facade. Reach out to him. He really cares, and he really wants to help. Whether or not you want to take one of his courses, or you just want to be an affiliate or assist him in any other way, please reach out below. But Jeremy, I do want to respect your time, so I'm going to ask you this last question, which, if you want to go back and reiterate everything you just said, because I can tell it's super passionate within inside of you, but is there anything that's on your heart or on your mind that you want people to know about?
Something that's kind of rolling around in my heart, even as this morning, is breathe purposefully. And the reason why I say that is because it's very easy to get caught up into the hectic busyness of our everyday lives, that we forget to be that example in the moment when it matters. Regret has such a bittersweet taste, because if we can react out of impatience, then go back and repair it, but it takes time. It takes discipline to be kind. It takes discipline to nurture someone, even when they're really annoying. And we've got 2 puppies in the backyard. But it's something that to breathe purposefully is to where when you're in front of someone, a lot of times we're not compassionate to the person in front of us because we're so focused on the destination, that we're so trying to get to what we think is success when we forget about the person that's right in front of us. And so breathe purposefully and focus and just react purposefully.
I love that. I love that. For those of you that watched, please pause, rewind, and listen to that again, and really take note and put it into action. Because Jeremy, I couldn't agree with that anymore. But thank you so much for being on today. For those of you watching, please share this, send it out, tag some people down below. But Jeremy, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else I can do for you, sir?
Man, I just appreciate you having me on here and carving out the time. I really do. And we got to have a phone call after this or sometime soon.
Sure. Yeah, for sure, brother. Well, appreciate it. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time.